edition of NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff. On today's rundown, Giannis, is he going to ask out of Milwaukee? It felt like we were done talking about this. Well, not so fast, says Shams Charania. Also, Trae Young, not happy with the Atlanta Hawks right now. Could he be on the move soon? We'll also take a look at a couple massive NBA extensions that happened this past week. Before we get into everything on today's show, last week when I did the NBA Now video, we got 110 likes. Well, my bosses are challenging me to top that number, so I want to hit it with flying colors. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video for daily free content. Let's get 150 on this show. I will start with the Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors because this headlined the NBA offseason in April when the season was kind of ending. The Bucks got eliminated from the playoffs early, and people were wondering, could Giannis ask out of Milwaukee? The future was not set in stone. Well, it kind of felt like we were done with that. Shams Charania says not so fast. He said earlier this week on Get Up that sources tell him there's nothing set in stone about whether Giannis Antetokounmpo will stay in Milwaukee or whether he will be leaving. There's been some very real conversations over the last week or so. The constant question that Giannis has thought is, can I win a championship with this roster? Is this roster going to be one for this upcoming year and in the 26-27 season? He's asking that question over and over. And if you watched this channel in the past, when I've talked about Giannis and his potential departure from Milwaukee, I have consistently said I am not sure why Giannis would want to stay with the Bucks. And this was before Damian Lillard got waived and they did a sign and trade for Miles Turner. No, I just never believed that this team was something that could build and grow into a championship anytime soon. I don't care how great Giannis is, and he certainly is a top 3 player in the NBA. You can rotate him, SGA, and Jokic, but those are the undisputed top 3. When you have to deal with Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner as your second and third best players, that's an issue. So to me, I'm not sure why he would want to stay in Milwaukee long term. They don't have a lot of draft capital at their disposal. How are they going to improve around him to win an NBA championship soon? So if you think about Giannis potentially asking out, he would have to be traded, obviously. He's still under contract for 2 more years guaranteed at $54 and $58 million the next 2 seasons. He does have a player option in 2027-28, but we know if he is going to be moved, it is going to be via trade, and it would be some sort of asking out. And then the teams would be lining up to send the Brinks truck to the Milwaukee Bucks in a potential trade. And I believe that the Bucks would get more in return than the Mavericks got for Luka Doncic, probably because it would be a public trade rather than one done in secret with the Los Angeles Lakers. So when you look at 5 potential landing spots for Antetokounmpo, if he does ask out, I think these are the 5 most likely. I have the Knicks and Heat with the top 2 maybe chances in terms of where Giannis would want to go due to big market and good cities. The Spurs and Mavericks make a lot of sense to me, as well as the Brooklyn Nets. Each of these teams has very good reasons to trade for Giannis, as well as reasons why Giannis would potentially want to go there, maybe outside of Brooklyn, but New York, Miami, San Antonio, and Dallas would make a lot of sense for Giannis to go there and potentially start competing for an NBA title. So predict it for me. Will Giannis ask for a trade or will he stay in Milwaukee for another year? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Pin comment on today's episode. If you ask me, I think he should ask for a trade, but he will not. I believe he stays. So if you are asking the question that I asked you and asking to predict it, well, my prediction is that Giannis is staying in Milwaukee. That's how it should. But he should ask for a trade because I just don't see a future there for him. And if he's serious about winning a title, I get it. You want to stay with one team your entire career. That's very admirable. But if you want to win, it's not going to be with the Bucks. Transitioning over to Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Is he not happy with that organization? Well, Young is eligible for an extension. And according to ESPN's Marc J. Spears, Atlanta has yet to offer Trae Young a contract extension. Spears also added that Trae is disappointed that he hasn't been presented with a contract extension at this time. So that's obviously not ideal. Now, when you look at Trae Young's contract details, unlike Giannis, he only has 1 year left guaranteed. That's this upcoming season. And then he has a player option for $48.9 million in 26-27. So there is a realistic chance that maybe Trae Young could opt out and become a free agent next summer if things go south between now and then with the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, if he opts in and doesn't get an extension, he'd be an unrestricted free agent in 2027. More coming here on Trae Young, but if you want daily and weekly sports content, this is the channel for you, whether it's NFL, college football, NBA, a little bit of MLB, we will have you covered. Subscribe, turn on notifications because we drop videos every single day, and we got a great crew here at Chat Sports. When you at least think of potential free agents to be in 2026, Trae Young would actually be the best one, with a couple extensions that have come in through the woodworks, which we'll talk about a couple of them in a second. It would be between Trae Young. Kevin Durant would be an unrestricted free agent. He is still not signed an extension. And then there's players like James Harden who have a player option. But I believe with account for youth, Trae Young would be the best unrestricted free agent if he opted out of his player option. So this is a thing that we got to monitor. And there are next team odds on Trae Young, which I'm a little bit shocked by the way it's actually been listed out here. The Magic are the number one team, which I don't understand because he doesn't really fit them right now with Suggs there, Desmond Bane, as well as the front court duo of Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. So I don't quite understand the Magic being the number one team on the list. But the Kings make sense. I think Miami could make sense if they move off of Tyler Hero. But the question that you have to ask when it comes to Trae Young is, what is his market in the trade market as well as in free agency? Now, in free agency would be very well dependent on who's got cap space to offer him a max contract. Miami is one of those teams that could have enough slots available. Same thing with Brooklyn. But on the trade market, are teams lining up to send a lot of assets to the Atlanta Hawks for a point guard like Trae Young, who is very ball dominant, very inefficient at times, as well as one of the biggest defensive liabilities in the entire NBA? I don't know what his market is. Now, if you're a team that is starved for offense, like a team in Miami with the Heat, who has been bottom 10 in 4 of the last 5 years, maybe you do try to move off of Hero to bring in Trae Young due to the volume of offense that Young can bring to your basketball team. We're talking about a guy who contributes at bare minimum 45 points a night, and when you factor in how many times he gets double teamed and blitzed to free up other guys for shot opportunities, and then the extra pass for the hockey assist, well, yeah, Trae Young's amongst the top in the entire NBA. When you actually look at his advanced stats, he is in the 100th percentile in terms of creation. This is a guy that averages a double-double a game. He is an offensive engine. Yes, the questions about durability, effort, and defense are there. There's no question. But when you just talk about what guys can be the number one option on a high-volume, high-velocity offense, Trae Young is on a very short list. So you'd have to think there are at least some teams that would be interested in acquiring Trae Young via free agency or the trade market. We're rounding out the show here in a second, but take advantage of NBA sales. Now, there's a bunch of items on sale: hats, sweatshirts, shirts, shorts. But these hoodies for your specific teams, there are every team available, was $65, now $30. But when you click this link in the link in description, or just type in chatsports.com/NBA sale, you will see all items that are on sale right now. So grab it today. There is a bunch of cool items still there, so grab yours now. One more time, chatsports.com/NBA sale. We're rounding out the show with some NBA extension talk because over the past 7 days, there have been 2 massive extensions in the association. The first one came last Saturday between the Los Angeles Lakers and Luka Doncic. Doncic signed a 3-year, $165 million max extension with the Lakers. He has a player option in 2028, so That is the next time he could become a free agent / cash in on the next Supermax extension, which is a 5-year, $300+ million deal. It could actually be close to $400 million by the time that rolls around, depending on how much the CBA continues to go up. So Luka's locked in with the Los Angeles. We could put the rumors of him potentially opting out and becoming a free agent to bed, at least for the next 3+ seasons. But the one that we're going to focus on is the one that was signed on Monday afternoon. The Spurs traded for De'Aaron Fox last deadline from the Kings. They extended him to a 4-year, $229 million deal. Actually has more every year AAV than Luka Doncic. It's probably because he signed a 4-year rather than a 3-year. But I am not surprised about Luka extending, because I always thought the plan was to extend in LA and then reevaluate how the next 3 seasons go, and then we'll see what happens when 2028 rolls around. But De'Aaron Fox being extended to that degree, I would have put money that he got extended, but the length, the amount, it shocked me a little bit. I can't lie. There was a small part of me that truly did believe maybe the Spurs would let this year play out and then reevaluate. Why do I say that? Because you have an elite young core in San Antonio. Wembanyama's 21. Stephon Cass, who just won Rookie of the Year, is 20. Devin Vassell is 24. You just drafted 2 players in the lottery. Second overall pick, Dylan Harper, who I'm extremely high on, and then Carter Bryant at pick number 19. Or it's not pick number 19. He's also 19. Like, I thought there was a chance that they would wait to see how this year played out. See how Dylan Harper looks. Because if Harper's unbelievable, well, then maybe that's your point guard of the future, and you have him on a rookie contract for years to come. And you're not giving Fox $55, $60 million per season. But they did extend him, and they don't elect to do that. Probably the smart decision, but hey, I was going to be a little bit curious to see if they were going to hold off and see how these young guys ultimately progressed. That'll do it for this edition of NBA Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching today's show. Like I said, if you want more content in the sports world, we got you daily. We got weekly live shows starting up. We got watch parties. If you're watching this on Thursday, join our own crew here on the channel for live watch parties. It's awesome. A lot of fun. Subscribe today.